Alright, trying my hand out with these vampires. Let's see how it goes down. Fighting High Elves again, and again. This time on a Phoenix. Gonna speed things up and get to right of the action, because as you can see in the first 3-ish minutes, yeah. It's not going so well. We just sat there staggering, stuttering, moving around. I think my opponent was guessing I was gonna bring a very powerful legendary lord. I brought a lot of Vargeist. Brought my lord on foot. I don't even know what kind of lord this is. I just know he's a lord. And he's not a very good one. Because he is pretty... I don't know. I think it was pretty meh. I think... I don't even know the names of them. I just know Kremler, Van Karstein, and Van Karstein's wife. I don't even know her name. But anyways, already starting off... These Vargeist are going to tear through these Phoenixes, and Teclis, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, Soul Blight just to weaken them down and try to hold off all these units. And that's what I learned about trying to get this vampire count gameplay, because vampire counts are just so defensive. You guys know me, I like to play aggressive, I like to attack. When I see all these units with like 10, 18, and like 20 melee attack, it just upsets me, because they are so pathetically weak, and they take so long to kill anything. You just constantly need to heal your units and keep that melee defense up and just make it a game of attrition, which is very weird for necromancy. But here we go. Here's the real kick. Brought in a 500 necromancer, and he did over 500 damage. Jeez. That was sick. Oof. Poor bastards, those sisters. They got torn. And look at this. Just flying and flapping and floating around. This is what you came to see. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't expecting this at all. I played a lot of High Elf games, and for those who ever run on the ladder, what do you expect? It's usually either Tyrion or Emmerich and a life cleric of some sort in combination. And I was expecting dragons, honestly. Wasn't gonna guess phoenixes, but I guess phoenixes are cheap enough. I don't know. Yeah, here's the one problem with phoenixes, though, or anything flying for that matter. As soon as I bring my units down, his units aren't really worth anything. What's he gotta deal with? All my scythes, all my ghosts, all my ghouls. I was actually afraid of him trying to snipe my lord, but with so much on the ground, I could easily catch him. And those sisters were so damaged that really not bothering me. I could just send these Fellbats here to reinforce and get rid of them, which is pretty sad. And this is why I feel so bad for High Elves. Even with 51 melee defense, they're still not going to outlast. It's honestly a joke at this point for High Elves, and I feel for them. Now, I've lost to High Elves a few times, but that's the problem, a few. It's like a handful. I go up to High Elf players and I laugh. Even as a greenskin player, it's just, I could take them, and I know I can, and that's the sad part. I guess it's just because their units are so expensive. I mean, look how sad this is. My opponent, I already have double his unit count for the same value, but there's no way he can match me on Domination with how many units I have. His units don't have the killing power. They have the staying power, but they definitely don't have the killing power. And I can just outswarm, heal, boost all my units. Unfortunately, his units don't get any benefit from using spells, if anything. I mean, yeah, the martial prowess is nice. Getting your melee defense up in the 50s, 60s, or 40s with just basic units. But, I mean, just look, if he would have went Swarm, I think he would have actually got me. But if he wouldn't Swarm, I wouldn't have to deal with his Phoenix. His two Phoenixes. I could have just I could have just swarmed his arrow units. Anything. Lothgar, whatever. And he's so desperate he has to use a net to get away. I mean, look at that. Phoenix is already dropped. Teclis is already leaving. And this is just sad, honestly. I felt bad. But I took a lot of beatings and a lot of losses because I don't know how to play Vampire Count online. It's so tough for even them. Because as a newcomer to vampire counts, a lot of your units aren't going to last. You're going to cycle out the units. That's a typical strategy for a lot of factions. But none more true for vampire counts. Zombies are dirt cheap at 100. The ROR is at 200. And they instill fear, so a lot of basic units are even going to have a hard time dealing with them. And they have 160 models, so it's going to take a while to get through all those zombies. And if you include a Mortis engine, it's already game over. In a type area like this, a Mortis engine would have dealt me pretty alright, but I didn't feel like I needed it. The more bodies, the better. And what? I could just spend a minute getting back all the zombies I just lost if I really wanted to. Instead, I bring in Vargeist, dogs. It's just... I just feel bad. I feel like High Elves really need, and if anything, this is living proof of why High Elves really need a buff of some sort. Maybe in the upcoming DLCs that they announce. Like if Khorne were to get a DLC, which seems to be what's going to happen next year, Khorne should get... okay, the factions that need it would probably be Greenskins, Khorne. Greenskins or Beastmen, I don't know, their rosters are pretty solid, but... I feel bad for Greenskins sometimes because they're just so low too. But yeah, Khorne, High Elves for sure need a buff and some units. I mean, jeez. And I think High Elves actually have a full roster. They just need units. I don't know. I mean, look at this. This is just so sad. These High Elf units should be winning. But they just can't get through the zombies. They just can't. How are you supposed to win this in Domination? Now, if this was land battle, this would be a totally different story. And this is one of the complaints I have in Domination, is units being so easy to summon and unsummon. More so unsummoning, for me, is a problem. As much as I like unsummoning, I think it's a little too cheesy and tacky, especially for factions that really do benefit it, like Skaven. I'm a Skaven player, I don't use it. I don't do the unsummoned lord just so I could get some cheap and better units. I think that's really disingenuous to the game and just a boring playstyle. So, my fix for this, and I've talked to a couple of players too who would like this, why allow unsummoning? Make the units have to fight or run them off the board. And if they do get unsummoned, make sure they run off the field instead of just teleporting off for 10 seconds. I'd rather have my own units and my opponent's units have to run off the field if they're unsummoning. Because if they just get teleported in, bam, they wasted all that effort, really? It feels bad, honestly, especially if you use ranged units or artillery. Like, I play Chaos Dwarf, and once my Madman cannons are out of ammo, I'm just like, cool. Unsummon, get a new one, cycle them out, and it's too easy, honestly. I think that's one of the critiques on Domination that needs to be fixed. Like, screw unsummoning altogether, just make them run off the field. Like it does in any battle, honestly. I don't know why that's so difficult. Oh, watching these Phoenixes bombard, knowing that they're not going to be able to get through all these dogs. Watch. Plus the Vargeist coming in to reinforce. Yeah, this is just so bad. But yeah, my other critique for Domination would have to be units should not be able to gain their, like take Minotaurs and Khorne roster. Minotaurs should not be able to gain that ability. They can gain ranks. Units should be able to gain ranks if you're going to summon and unsummon them. But they should not gain abilities like Hellstriders of Slash or Khorne units. I forget what it is. Like the Gore Beast or Goreblood. I'm forgetting it. I've been playing with Minotaurs because it's just so easy. Because Minotaurs, you can get them up to... You can just keep cycling out Minotaurs and there's just really... It's not that there's no way to deal with them. It just feels bad to send in units doing that. You're just wasting your time because you don't have the proper tools to deal with Minotaurs who are being cycled out. Because you might deal with them the first time, but the next time you're going to not be able to deal with them just as well because your units, those units that you sent in, aren't going to be able to deal with them at all. Because on top of getting the rank, they also increase some blood gore. So their melee attack and melee defense and all that goodness goes up twice over. And it just seems, as an ability, that's fine, but it should stop on death. As we see this lovely background of blood units. I love some Skeleton. Oh, these are just so cool. It just sucks that vampire counts just don't have the killing power, honestly. Honestly, their units are really expensive. Zombie skeletons and all that are, I think, appropriately priced, but Graveguard, for units in the same price range, they just don't do enough. You have to give them the support, you have to. But that's the same for every other roster, honestly. But they can stand on their own. You can't send a unit Graveguard to deal with another objective. That you can't hold two objectives as easily without proper support. You really need a lot going for them. And that's a little side note for vampire counts, my experience with them. Some of their units in the higher end really should come down. But I say that, but really, watching this, you're like, really? Do they? But no, it's actually High Elves need a buff more than vampire counts. Vampire counts, they're too predictable. There's just so much you could do, but typically Mortis Engine, bunch of zombies, and some skeletons and all that in the back. Maybe some Morghuls and Vargeist. Well, yeah, definitely Morghuls and Vargeist. Maybe a Legendary Lord, maybe. Even though you don't really need one. Although it does help. But yeah, I just feel so bad for a lot of these factions that really don't have the proper tools to deal with these things. Especially when, depending on the game mode too. And that's something I've talked about too with other people. It's just, it's okay for factions to do better in certain game modes like Domination or Land Battle. But some are just a little too strong, honestly. Alright, sorry about that rant. Let's get to the value. And of course, my boys are doing alright. Vargeist are going to be the MVPs of this one. Oof. No kills, but lots of value. Plenty of it. No surprise there. I felt bad because it's so easy to manage against High Elves knowing that they're going to have such a low model count. And I felt bad for this player. They really shouldn't have gone this low numbers. They really should have spread their numbers out. I don't know if they're a new player, but they seem to know High Elves quite well, and they did what they were supposed to do, almost. I think I would have taken some of the spears off their home objective and tried to move in. But they would have just been intercepted by zombies anyways, so I don't know. It's tough to say. Definitely drop the Phoenixes just to bring in more units. That's what I would have done. Drop both Phoenixes, just bring in swarms. But yeah, I hope you guys like that. Sorry about the rant, but this is just gameplay that just saddens me. I hope you guys like it. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter. I'll see you next time. Peace.